Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. This is like my dream gig, being here in Better Reading, getting to talk with all of you about books. So I'm really excited about this. I've got a big pile of books beside me to get through, and I'm really excited to hear what you're reading as well. So my name is Margaret Hickey. I'm the author of Cutter's End and Stone Town. And this is a really exciting week for me because Stone Town was released on Friday, and Cutter's End has just been nominated for the Ned Kelly Debut Crime Award. So I've had such a wonderful week, and I don't know whether some of you have read these books, but they're both crime thrillers set in a small rural town. So Stone Town, my latest one, is about crime in a small town, the tensions between rural and urban life, and the role of women in country town, and how much power they yield or don't yield. So there's a murder mystery in the bush, which also involves the barking owl, an owl which screams. And I hope none of you, and I hope your children and your great-grandchildren and their grandchildren and your whole bloodline never has to hear the chilling sound of that owl, because it's really scary. Hi, Emma. Hi, Joy. Hi, Helen and Kate. Oh, thank you, Kate, for reading and enjoying Cutter's End. I'm really pleased. So I've got quite a few books to get through. Hi from Ballarat. I've got quite a few to get through. The first one I want to talk about is, and come on, let's face it, we're all talking about it, is Michael Rowbotham's latest, Lying Beside You. This is his third in the Cyrus Havens series, after Good Girl, Bad Girl, and When She Was Good. I'm so excited to read this one. I think Michael is able to render the city streets of London and the UK, that weather, so beautifully infused with his crime. I can see that a few other people are also reading Michael Rowbotham's latest book too. So, and it sounds like you're really enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to that one. Another book that I have read recently, and I don't know whether any of you will have read this yet, is Wild Dogs by Michael Trant. So this book it's a really interesting one, and it's been described as a Western Australian, as in a West Australian. And it's about this old guy who is a dogger, and they are people who trap and kill wild dogs, or dingoes sometimes, and because of the threat to livestock. And he is going about his job, trapping these wild dogs, when he comes across an execution in the middle of the West Australian desert. And he intervenes and rescues this guy. I'm not going to give you any more away, just to say that what ensues is a sort of an ongoing battle between this old dogger and a kangaroo shooter. Now, if it sounds like a Western, it is a Western set in Western Australia. I found it really wonderful. There are also chapters that are set from the point of view of the dingo, of a mother dingo, and that's rendered really beautifully. So Wild Dogs. Kate has just read The Angry Women's Choir and absolutely loved it. Totally recommend. Thanks, Kate. Joy's got Wild Dogs in her pile. Joy, I think you're going to like it. Hi, Bev. Bev's reading Trivia Night by Ali Lowe. That sounds terrific. And Sharon has just finished The Clearing by J.P. Palmar. Yeah, he's got some great books out, hasn't he? All About Eve, I read, was one of his first ones, I think. He just continues to be on the award lists time and time again. Another one that I've been really interested in, and I'm interested to know if any of you have read this too, is Jane Carros' The Mother. This is a really, and obviously Jane Carro, we know, she made a run for the Senate recently, and Jane Carro has written this book about things that are really strong to her. Helen loves this book. I love it too. It's about domestic violence. It's about coercive control, and it's about what people will do to protect others in their family. One thing that I found really interesting about Jane's book here is that she made her villain a vet. Now, I don't know about you, but I always think of like the Bondi vet. I always think of all creatures, great and small, good-looking, smiling men in small country towns. But what a great turn of events to make your villain a vet, because the instruments they have at their disposal are incredibly deadly. So that was a good one for me. Nicole Foster says it's a wild read. Robin Hood says brilliant book. Yep, I really enjoyed it too. It's done very well, of course. Some other books that I'd like to talk about. These are more traditional books, I suppose, and I don't know if any of you are like me, but I love a bit of the Tudors. I can't get enough of the Tudors v. Plantagenet. I find that so interesting. And who is the master or mistress or madam is Hilary Mantel. Wolf Hall, what a series. So Thomas More here, in the guy who was the sort of second under Secretary of State to King Henry VIII, and his life, how he rose from being a very poor child to the very highest power in the Tudors, is really thrilling. I think Hilary Mantel's wonderful. She, of course, followed it up with her Bring Up the Bodies, and the last one, The Mirror and the Light, which, I mean, take a few nights to read that one. But it's terrific. And she manages, Hilary Mantel, with language to make small gestures so powerful. There's a part where just before she's about to be executed, one of Henry's wives, Catherine, sort of makes a small gesture with a nervous gesture about her neck. Just really simple things, one sentence. She strokes her neck. It's really powerful. Yes, Emma loves anything by the Tudors, and she's currently obsessed with the musical Six. Okay, I do not know that, but I'm going to check it out. Philippa Gregory, of course, too, writes about the Tudors so wonderfully as well. White Queen, Red Queen. I'm sure some of you have read those. Marg McHugh. Hey, Marg, nice name. Shout out to all the Margs. Marg's just finished reading Dressed by Iris. And I don't know that one, but it sounds good. And if a Marg likes it, then I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it too. She's reading Diane Armstrong's Dancing with the Enemy, and it's got her hooked. Fantastic. We've got a Karen Slaughter fan. Well, who isn't a Karen Slaughter fan, really? That's Anne Miller, and she's reading Girl Forgotten. She says she can't wait to read Stonetown. Now, that's when I should do a little plug. Stonetown by Margaret Hickey. Kylie's reading A Dolphin Called Jack by Melody Horrell. That sounds rather lovely. Yes, Joy, I agree. Hilary Mantel's wonderful. Here's another one. I said I was going to talk about some classics. I've talked about a British classic. I'm going to talk about a book whose surname I'm afraid I find really difficult to pronounce, but I'm going to do my best. Christos Tsoukalos. I've said that incorrectly. I apologise. He is a master at writing, at making small moments become life-changing. And in this case, of course, we know it was the slap. His books are vivid. They are raw. They are visceral. And his latest one, I think it's called Damascus. It's almost as if he's taken a knife and put his own guts on the page. It's that visceral. No one in Australia, I think, writes quite like him. I'm a real fan. Interesting. Nice segue. His partner is a vet. There you go. Could that be some sort of link with interesting circumstances in books. Yes, Helen says the slap was awesome and the film was good. I didn't know there was a film. I saw the miniseries in television and it was brilliant. Barracuda is also really wonderful, the one about the swimmer. And I think in Barracuda, what Christos does so well is he manages to describe class in Australian society so well. The really rich people in Melbourne with their holiday houses on the Peninsula v. this boy from the poor western suburbs who happens to be a brilliant swimmer. That's Barracuda. Kerry's reading Razorblade Tears and Pachinko. Excellent. And Jack is reading The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. Okay, so Lisa feels like this is going to be a quirky romance story. You made a fool of death with your beauty by Awakaze Enzi. She's quite interesting at the moment. If you're on Twitter at all, have a look at her. She's got a lot to say about quite a few issues on at the moment. I think she's a really interesting person and academic, so I'm really quite interested in reading that one. Yeah, Helen, it was a mini-series, yeah. I'm going to have a look at some other ones that I've read too, and maybe you have as well. Okay, this is a good one. And this one is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, which has got to win one of the top 3 best titles for a book ever, because it gets you straight away, doesn't it? If you like Agatha Christie, if you liked Knives Out, this book is going to get you in. It's funny, it's gripping, it's this knowing wink. He's sort of giving a whole wink to the crime genre. And it's breaking the fourth wall. This is a crime novel that's really different. I was also interested in its setting because Ben has set this in the snowy mountains. You imagine it somewhere like Thredbo, and what a great place to set a crime, because people are trapped in together, this family, the Cunningham family, and they cannot leave when a snowstorm erupts. So I recommended that. Oh, Sandra is saying hello from flooded Maitland. You're reading Cloud Cuckoo Land. It's brilliant. I'm loving it. Sandra, I hope you're okay in these floods. I'm from country Victoria, but I'm in Sydney at the moment, of course, and it's sunny for the first time probably in weeks. So I hope you're okay, Sandra. I hope your house and belongings are safe, because it's been such a tough time for you. And I hope that Cloud Cuckoo Land is cheering you, giving you some respite, as books do. Kate Thomas. Now, she's a person I know very well. Hello, Kate. I'm a teacher with Kate at Cathedral College in regional Victoria. We teach senior English, and Kate's fabulous. She's reading Hades by Candace Fox. But Kate, why aren't you reading my book? You're my friend. I would have thought you would have bought my book. Oh, very offended now. I don't think I'll have coffee with you when we go back to school on Monday. Angela's there as well. Yes, this is fab. Ange is wonderful. She's an avid reader, and I'm sure she's at least bought my book, as a friend would. Emma's saying she started the audio book of Stone Town. Oh, but she had to stop because she's had a younger sister called Sarah. I'm sorry, Emma. Names are hard. When you're an author, it's really hard, Emma, to choose names. Apparently, the last book that I wrote, I had too many Ians, so I had to stop. So I'm a fan of Ian and Barry, but no more Ian and Barrys for me, according to my editors. Also, because I live in a small town, every single person thinks every single character is named after them. It's a problem when they think that the murderer is named after them. Hi, Mary. How are you? Yes, everyone's now talking about how wonderful the books are. Oh, Sandra's saying she's fine. The farmland is flooded and people are isolated. I'm glad you're fine, Sandra. Thank you for updating us. Another book that I'm really keen to read. Now, I don't know much about this book, but I am interested because it's going to lead into a nice segue with my next book, is Holy Woman. Now, this is a memoir from someone who was a former Pentecostal preacher, and she explores women's place in religion. Maybe it's my love of the Tudors as well, because we know that was all how that went down for women, that I find this a really interesting theme. So, Holy Woman by Louise Omer is one that is definitely on my list. Hi from Kalgoorlie, Western Australia, Dixie. How are you? Another series that I have just finished reading, and I bet some of you have read this too, is the Women of Troy series by Pat Barker. So Pat Barker has taken the Iliad, the story of Troy and Achilles and Helen and the 1,000 ships, and she's written it from the slave girl's point of view, Bresis, who Achilles won in the battle. So Bresis is a Trojan woman. And Pat Barker sets these novels, so there's two, I've heard she's going to write a trilogy, as Troy is falling. And this is a wonderful book. These are wonderful books to read. Pat Barker takes this myth, this very famous myth, possibly, arguably the greatest story that we have, the story of Troy and Achilles and all those things, the Iliad, and she puts it from a woman's point of view. And it's beautifully human, it's funny in parts, and it makes you really realise how some situations never change, no matter whether it be 3,000 years for young women in society. Hi, Meredith Griffin, how are you? I hope you're well. Annette's reading Tolkien, which is great to hear. So, Annette, I hope, and I'm going to mispronounce it, but it's the Silmarillion. Now, am I right in saying that this is in the Hobbit series, Annette? If you could get back to us, that would be great. Is it connected? I think it is. We'll have to get Annette to confirm that for us. Back onto Troy, though, you can see I've got a bit of a theme here. Another book I really love is Ransom by David Malouf, an Australian writer. I think there was a critic, Peter Reed, who said that David Malouf never writes an incorrect sentence. And I think that's true. His work, he's one of our greatest Australian writers, David Malouf. And he again writes about Troy. In this case, the father of Hector, who is slain by Achilles, and when the old father, Priam, dresses up in beggar's clothes, goes into the Grecian battlefields and asks Achilles for his dead son's body back. This is a beautiful tale, Ransom by David Malouf. I think I've got one more to talk about. So if anyone else wants to bring up something that you've read, which I haven't mentioned yet, please do. And this is Cassie Hayner's The End of Cuthbert Close. Hi, Liz. Liz is from the Central Coast. She's enjoying writing and reading and loves the recommendations. I do too. I love a recommendation. Christine's reading The Secret World of Connie Starr by Robert Neal. I've heard of that one. That sounds great, Christine. Let us know. Let Better Reading know how that one goes. This one by Cassie Hamer is beautiful. Cassie Hamer herself, and she was with me last night at the Sydney launch of Stone Town, she describes her book, she sort of says, it's women's fiction. I find that a funny thing. I find that a funny term. What's women's fiction? What's men's fiction? What it is good fiction. And she writes really, it's almost like it's a domestic drama about this family on a Sydney street. And Sydney, it's got romance, it's got tension, it's got family conflict, and it's a really lovely story. Cassie Hamer writes for everyone, I think, not just women. I think that's about it from me with my book recommendations. I'm in a world of This is my favourite world. I could listen to your recommendations for weeks and hours, but I know you've all got things to do. Helen's saying she's reading Dinner with the Schnabels and the Competition. Dixie's about to start Family Matters, and Rachel John's online book. Oh, for Rachel John's online book club. Rachel's lovely. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on Better Reading. I hope you get a chance, if you feel like it, no pressure, to read either Stone Town or Cutter's End. I think I did mention that Cutter's End has been nominated for the debut Ned Kelly Crime Prize, which I'm very excited about. One of the reasons I'm excited about is the other shortlisted person is Brian Brown, and I remember him in Cocktail. So I will never look at a strawberry daiquiri the same way again. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this so much. Thank you and goodbye.